Imagine being invited somewhere, not to be celebrated, not to be included, but to be used as the punchline of a cruel joke in front of the most dangerous people in the city. That was what happened to Imani Walker. Imani worked as a maid for the elite. She scrubbed floors, polished silver, and moved like a shadow through cold marble hallways. Most people looked right through her, treating her like she was just another piece of the expensive scenery. So when the invitation arrived, it felt surreal, almost like a nightmare. It was for a high-profile gala hosted by Jang Min-hee, the socialite ex-fiancée of the city's most feared mafia boss, Baek Hyun-woo. But what Imani did not know was that this invitation was laced with venom. It was not a gesture of kindness, it was a social execution. Have you ever been underestimated so completely that people forgot you were even human? Stay with me, because what happens next is the most satisfying reversal you'll ever witness. Imani Walker had been invisible for exactly 11 months. 11 months of scrubbing marble floors in the penthouse of Jang Min-hee, Seoul's most vicious socialite. 11 months of being called the Help like it was her actual name. 11 months of watching Min-hee throw $1,000 dresses on the floor for Imani to pick up. Of listening to Min-hee's friends laugh about how funny it is that she actually thinks we see her as a person. Imani was 28 years old, Black American, beautiful deep brown skin that Min-hee constantly made cruel comments about. Natural hair she kept in simple styles because anything elaborate would be mocked. Tall, elegant, educated. Not that anyone in Min-hee's world cared about any of that. To them, she was furniture, a shadow, something to be used and discarded. What they didn't know, what no one in Seoul knew, was who Imani really was. Ambassador Marcus Walker's daughter of one of the most powerful diplomats in U.S. history, a woman who'd grown up in embassy ballrooms, who spoke 5 languages, who'd been groomed for international politics since birth, until the scandal, until her father's political enemies manufactured evidence of corruption that destroyed his career, froze his assets, stripped away their family name and fortune. Until Imani found herself alone in Seoul with nothing, no money, no title, no identity, trying to survive while her father fought to clear his name from a prison cell back in the States. She'd taken the maid job because she needed to eat, needed a place to sleep, needed to disappear while the media circus back home tore apart everything she'd ever known. And she'd chosen Min-hee's household specifically because Min-hee was so self-absorbed, so convinced of her own superiority, that she'd never bother to actually look at her maid. Would never recognize the diplomat's daughter she'd met once at a charity gala 3 years ago. Imani had been right. Min-hee looked through her every single day, until the invitation. It arrived on a Tuesday morning while Imani was polishing the silver in Min-hee's dining room. Min-hee swept in with her usual entourage, 3 equally vapid socialites who treated Min-hee's penthouse like their personal playground. "Oh, perfect. The help is here," Min-hee announced. "I have the most brilliant idea." Her friends giggled. Imani kept polishing, eyes down, invisible. "You know the spring gala I'm hosting next week?" Min-hee continued. "The one where literally everyone who matters in Seoul will be there, including my ex, Baek Hyun-woo?" More giggles. Hyun-woo's name always provoked reactions. The most feared man in the city, the mafia boss who controlled half of Seoul's underground economy. Min-hee had been engaged to him for exactly 3 months before he'd broken it off, calling her empty and cruel in front of her entire social circle. She'd been trying to win him back, or at least humiliate him publicly, ever since. "Well, I've decided to invite someone unexpected," Min-hee said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Someone who will make the evening truly memorable." She walked over to Imani, dropped a cream-colored envelope on the silver tray Imani was polishing. "You're invited, Imani, to my gala as a guest." Imani looked up slowly. Min-hee's smile was poisonous. "I want you to attend. Wear something nice. Mingle with the guests. It'll be so fun to show everyone how progressive I am. How I treat even the help as equals." Her friends burst into laughter. Imani understood immediately. This wasn't kindness. This was a trap. Min-hee was inviting her to publicly humiliate her in front of Seoul's entire elite. "I don't think that's appropriate, Miss Jang," Imani said quietly. "Oh, I insist. In fact, I'll even help you pick out a dress. I have one that would be absolutely perfect for you. More laughter. Imani knew she should decline. Should stay invisible. Should not give Min-hee this opportunity. But something inside her, something that had been buried for 11 months, stirred. The part of her that was Ambassador Walker's daughter. The part that had negotiated with foreign ministers and dined with presidents. The part that refused to be erased. Thank you, Miss Jang, Imani heard herself say. I accept your invitation. Min-hee's smile widened. Wonderful. This is going to be spectacular. After they left, Imani stood alone in the dining room, holding the invitation. Her hands were shaking. She'd just agreed to walk into a lion's den, and she had exactly 1 week to figure out how to survive it. If you're watching this and you've ever had to choose between staying invisible or fighting back, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear this story. Subscribe, because what Imani does next is going to blow your mind. This community grows because of you. That night, after Min-hee went to bed, Imani made a phone call she'd sworn she wouldn't make, to Julian. Julian Cross had been her father's senior advisor for 20 years, the man who'd helped Ambassador Walker navigate international crises, broker peace deals, build a legacy, the man who'd promised Imani that if she ever needed help, truly needed it, he'd be there. She hadn't called him once in 11 months. Until now. Imani? Julian's voice was shocked. My God, we've been looking for you everywhere. Your father. How is he? Fighting. The appeal is moving forward. We have evidence that could exonerate him, but it's going to take time. Are you safe? Where are you? Seoul, working as a maid. Silence. Then, a maid? It's a long story. Julian, I need help. Not money, not rescue. Just one favor. Anything. I need a dress, for a gala, something that makes a statement. What kind of statement? The kind that reminds people who I really am. Julian was quiet for a moment. Then, tell me everything. Imani explained the situation, Min-hee, the invitation, the trap. Julian listened without interrupting. When she finished, he said, Imani, you don't have to do this. You can walk away. Stay hidden until your father's name is cleared. I've been hidden for 11 months, Julian. I'm tired of being invisible. I'm tired of letting people like Min-hee think they can erase me. If you do this, if you reveal yourself, the media will find you. The scandal will resurface. It could complicate your father's case. Or it could show them that the Walker family doesn't disappear, that we don't break. Your father would be proud and terrified. Good. That means I'm doing it right. Julian laughed. Okay, I'll make some calls. Give me 3 days. Julian, make it memorable. Oh, Imani, it's going to be legendary. The next morning, Min-hee called Imani into her dressing room. I found the perfect dress for you, Min-hee announced, holding up a monstrosity. Neon yellow, ruffles everywhere, sequins in chaotic patterns. A bow the size of a small child on the back. It was hideous. Deliberately, catastrophically hideous. Isn't it gorgeous? Min-hee asked, barely containing her laughter. So bold, so unique. You'll definitely stand out. It's very bright, Imani said carefully. I knew you'd love it. Oh, and I'm posting about this on social media, empowering my staff by inviting them to high society events. It'll be great for my image. She'd already taken a photo of the dress and was typing a caption. Imani watched her employer, this cruel, empty woman who thought kindness was a marketing opportunity, and felt something cold settle in her chest. Not anger, determination. Thank you, Miss Jang. It's very generous. I know, I'm such a good person. Min-hee handed her the dress. The gala is Saturday at 8. Don't be late. And Imani? Try to blend in, okay? I know this world is very different from what you're used to, but just do your best. I will, Miss Jang. I promise I'll make an impression you'll never forget. Min-hee didn't catch the steel in Imani's voice. She was too busy admiring herself in the mirror. 3 days later, a package arrived at the staff entrance of Min-hee's building, addressed to Imani Walker, from Julian. Inside was a garment bag and a note. Let them remember who you are, Jay. Imani took the bag to her tiny room in the staff quarters, locked the door, unzipped the bag, and gasped. The dress was deep burgundy silk, floor-length, elegant, timeless. But what made it extraordinary was the cape. White, structured, regal, like something a queen would wear. There were accessories too, diamond earrings, a bracelet, shoes, all borrowed from diplomatic collections, all absolutely perfect. At the bottom of the box was a second note. These belong to your mother. She wore them when she met the Queen of England. She'd want you to have them now. Show them who the Walkers really are. Imani sat on her narrow bed in her staff quarters, holding her mother's diamonds, and cried for the first time in 11 months. Not from sadness, from strength. She was done being invisible. Saturday arrived. The spring gala was being held at the Shilla Hotel, Seoul's most exclusive venue. Min-hee had been preparing for weeks, micromanaging every detail, making sure the event would be photographed and talked about for months. She'd also been posting about her generous gesture of inviting her maid, generating buzz and attention. The social media comments were brutal. This is going to be a disaster. I can't wait to see the poor girl in that awful dress. Min-hee is so cruel, Lowell. Someone needs to stop this. But no one did. Instead, Seoul's elite marked their calendars, eager to witness the spectacle. Imani spent the day in her room preparing. She'd told Min-hee she'd arrive separately, to not interfere with Miss Jang's entrance. Min-hee had agreed eagerly, probably imagining Imani skulking in through a side door. At 7:30, Imani finished her makeup, put on her mother's diamonds, stepped into the burgundy dress, fastened the white cape, and looked at herself in the small mirror. She looked like royalty. She looked like her mother. She looked like herself again. At 7:45, a car Julian had arranged picked her up from the staff entrance. At 7:58, that car pulled up to the main entrance of the Shilla Hotel, where a red carpet stretched into the grand ballroom, where photographers waited, where Seoul's entire elite had already gathered. Where Min-hee stood near the entrance, holding court, waiting for her joke to arrive. The car door opened, and Imani Walker stepped out. The grand mahogany doors of the Shilla Hotel ballroom swung open at exactly 8 o'clock. Inside, 300 of Seoul's most elite citizens waited. Socialites in designer gowns, businessmen in custom suits, politicians, artists. And in the center of it all, the most dangerous man in the room, Baek Hyun-woo. The Mafia boss stood apart from the crowd, 40 years old, Korean, devastatingly handsome in a black suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. His entire left forearm was covered in a traditional Korean tiger tattoo, visible when he moved, hidden when he wanted it to be. He hadn't wanted to come tonight. His ex-fiancée's gala. Min-hee's desperate attempt to remind everyone she existed, that she mattered, that she'd once been engaged to him, but his father, the head of the Baek organization, had insisted. Appearance matters, show your face, remind them who we are. So Hyun-woo had come, and spent the evening profoundly bored, until the doors opened. Min-hee stood near the entrance with her inner circle, her phone ready to capture the moment her generous gesture arrived. She'd told everyone what to expect. The maid, the hideous yellow dress, the awkwardness. "This is going to be hilarious," one of her friends whispered. "Shh, here she comes," Min-hee said, phone raised. But what walked through those doors made the entire ballroom fall into absolute silence. A woman, black, stunning, moving like she owned not just the room, but the entire city. The burgundy silk dress caught the light like liquid fire. The white structured cape flowed behind her like wings. Diamond earrings, real diamonds, anyone with eyes could tell, caught the chandeliers. And her face, beautiful deep brown skin, natural hair styled in an elegant updo, dark eyes that looked at the room not with fear or uncertainty, but with the calm confidence of someone who'd been in rooms like this her entire life. She walked slowly down the center aisle, every step deliberate, every eye on her. Min-hee's phone dropped slightly. "What? That's not..." But it was. Imani Walker had arrived, and she looked like a queen. The whispers started immediately. "Who is that? Is that the maid? That can't be the maid. Look at that dress. That's custom. Those are real diamonds." The way she's walking, that's training. Real training. Imani kept moving forward, her face serene, giving nothing away. She'd learned this walk at 14, how to enter a room of powerful people and command attention without saying a word. She'd forgotten she knew how, but her body remembered. Halfway through the ballroom, she passed Min-hee, made direct eye contact, and smiled. Min-hee went pale. This wasn't the joke she'd planned. This was something else entirely. Imani continued toward the back of the ballroom where the most important guests stood. And that's when Baek Hyun-woo moved. He'd been watching from the moment she entered. Couldn't look away. Because he recognized something in the way she moved, the way she held herself. Power. Real power. Not the borrowed influence of wealth or status, but the kind of power that came from bloodline, from training, from knowing exactly who you were. As Imani passed him, Hyun-woo did something he'd never done before. He stepped behind her, walked 2 paces back. In the language of their world, a world of hierarchy and respect and unspoken rules, it was a declaration. He was acknowledging her as his equal, as his peer, as someone worthy of his respect. The room saw it, everyone saw it, and the whispers became a roar. Did Hyun-woo just walked behind her? He never does that. Who is she? Min-hee was having a meltdown. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Imani was supposed to arrive looking ridiculous, was supposed to be uncomfortable, was supposed to make Min-hee look generous and sophisticated by comparison. Instead, she looked like royalty, and Baek Hyun-woo, the man Min-hee had been desperately trying to win back, had just publicly acknowledged this woman as his equal. Min-hee pushed through the crowd. Excuse me, excuse me. The crowd parted. Imani turned slowly. Yes, Miss Jang? Her voice was different, not the quiet, subservient tone she'd used for 11 months. This was the voice of someone used to being heard. What are you wearing? Min-hee hissed. I gave you a dress. A specific dress. You did. It was very generous, but I decided to wear something more appropriate for the occasion. That's not... You're here as my guest, my charity case. You're supposed to... I'm supposed to what exactly? The question hung in the air. Min-hee's face was red. You're just the help. You're nobody. You clean my floors. I do clean your floors, very thoroughly, I might add. Laughter rippled through the nearby crowd. Min-hee was spiraling. You think you can just walk in here and pretend to be one of us? We know what you are. Do you? Yes, you're a maid. You're nothing. Actually, a new voice interrupted. She's considerably more than that. An older Korean man stepped forward. Distinguished, powerful, Kim Tae-sung, Minister of Foreign Affairs. He looked at Imani with recognition. Miss Walker, I wasn't aware you were in Seoul. The room went dead silent. Minister Kim, Imani said warmly, switching seamlessly to formal Korean. It's been too long. Indeed. How is your father? I heard about the unfortunate situation. Fighting to clear his name, the truth will come out. I have no doubt. Ambassador Walker is one of the finest men I've ever worked with. Please give him my regards. I will, thank you. Min-hee was staring. Walker? Ambassador Walker? Minister Kim turned to her. You didn't know? This is Imani Walker, daughter of U.S. Ambassador Marcus Walker. I've met her several times at diplomatic functions. Brilliant young woman. Speaks 5 languages, has degrees from Harvard and Oxford. But she's my maid. Is she? How fascinating. The minister's tone suggested it was anything but fascinating. It suggested Min-hee was an idiot. The crowd had gone from curious to scandalized. Imani Walker wasn't some random maid. She was diplomatic royalty. And Min-hee had tried to humiliate her, publicly. Min-hee's friends were backing away, distancing themselves from the disaster. The photographers Min-hee had hired to capture her generous moment were snapping photos of her meltdown instead. You should have told me who you were, Min-hee sputtered. You never asked, Imani said simply. You just assumed. You assumed I was nobody, that I didn't matter, that I could be used as the punchline to your joke. I was being kind. I invited you. You invited me to humiliate me, to make yourself look benevolent, to create a spectacle. That's not... Miss Jang. Baek Hyun-woo's voice cut through the chaos. He stepped forward for the first time. Min-hee's face lit up with desperate hope. Hyun-woo! Tell them, this is ridiculous! I agree, it is ridiculous. See, You're ridiculous, Min-hee. I've watched you be cruel to staff, to anyone you perceived as beneath you. I thought you were just thoughtless. But this? He looked at Imani. Inviting someone you employed to a gala as a joke? That's not thoughtless, that's vicious. But I didn't know she was... It shouldn't matter who she is. Basic human decency shouldn't require a title or a bloodline. Min-hee was falling apart. You're defending her? The maid? I'm defending someone who has more class and dignity in one finger than you have in your entire body. The crowd murmured. Baek Hyun-woo, the feared Mafia boss, had just publicly destroyed Min-hee and elevated Imani. Min-hee looked around wildly, saw the cameras, saw the crowd's judgment, saw her social status crumbling in real time. She did the only thing her panicked brain could think of. She grabbed a glass of red wine from a nearby tray and threw it at Imani. Time seemed to slow. The wine arced through the air, but Imani didn't flinch, didn't move, just stood there. And Baek Hyun-woo stepped in front of her. The wine hit him instead, soaked the front of his expensive suit. The room gasped. You didn't throw things at Baek Hyun-woo. You didn't embarrass him. You didn't make him a spectacle. Min-hee realized what she'd done. Hyun-woo, I didn't mean... I was aiming for... He looked down at his ruined suit, then at her. Security, he said quietly. Two men in dark suits appeared instantly. Escort Miss Jang out. She's no longer welcome. What? No, this is my gala, my event. Not anymore. Remove her. Min-hee screamed, fought, caused a scene, but the security was professional. They lifted her, literally lifted her off her feet, and carried her out of the ballroom. Her screams echoed until the doors closed, leaving 300 shocked guests, one wine-stained mafia boss, and Imani Walker, standing in the center of the ballroom in her mother's diamonds, absolutely untouched. Hyun-woo turned to her. I apologize for that, and for ruining the dramatic moment of your entrance. Imani smiled, a real smile. You didn't ruin it, you completed it. I'm Baek Hyun-woo. I know who you are. And you're Imani Walker, daughter of Ambassador Marcus Walker, currently working as a maid for my terrible ex-fiancé. Former maid, I'm fairly certain I'm fired. Probably. What will you do now? Clear my father's name, restore my family's reputation. Maybe find a job that doesn't require scrubbing floors. I might know someone who's hiring. Do you? My organization needs someone who speaks 5 languages and can navigate international relations. Someone smart, strong, someone who doesn't flinch when wine is thrown at them. Is this a job offer from a mafia boss? It's an opportunity. From someone who respects strength when he sees it. Imani studied him. I don't do illegal work. I wouldn't expect you to. I have plenty of legitimate businesses that need skilled management. And if I say no, then I'll wish you well and we'll part as friendly acquaintances who shared a memorable evening. Imani was quiet for a moment. Then she extended her hand. I'll consider it. Give me your card. Hyun-woo smiled. Actually smiled. I don't have cards. Then how do people contact you? They don't. I contact them. Sounds like a terrible business model. He laughed. I'll make an exception for you. He pulled out his phone. Number? She gave it to him. Around them, the gala was slowly resuming, but everyone was watching, talking. The story was already spreading. Min-hee's humiliation, Imani's revelation, Hyun-woo's public acknowledgement. By tomorrow, it would be everywhere. Minister Kim approached again. Miss Walker, might I have a word? Of course, Minister. I'm organizing a diplomatic summit next month, small gathering. Former ambassadors and their families. I'd like to extend an invitation to your father when he's available. You mean when he's cleared? I have faith the justice system will recognize the truth, and when it does, the Walker name will be welcomed back to the international community, including here in Seoul. Thank you, Minister. That means more than you know. He bowed slightly. Your mother would be proud. You have her grace. After he left, Amani stood alone for a moment. People approached carefully, respectfully, introducing themselves, apologizing for not knowing who she was, treating her like she mattered, like she was visible. 3 hours later, Amani left the gala. Hyunwoo walked her to her car, the one Julian had arranged. Are you going to be okay? He asked. I'm going to be better than okay. Min-hee might retaliate. Let her try. I have nothing left to hide. The media will find you, tomorrow, maybe even tonight. Good. Let them find me. Let them ask questions. Let them hear my father's side of the story. You're not afraid. I was invisible for 11 months. Fear can't be worse than that. Hyunwoo nodded. If you need anything, protection, resources, someone to intimidate journalists, call me. I thought you didn't give people your number. I said I'd make an exception. Amani got in the car, then rolled down the window. Hyunwoo, thank you for stepping in front of the wine, for acknowledging me, for seeing me. I didn't do anything special. You were already visible, everyone else was just blind. The car pulled away, and Baek Hyunwoo stood in the lights of the Shilla Hotel, watching her go, thinking about the woman who'd walked into a trap and turned it into a coronation. He called his father. The gala is over. How did it go? I met someone interesting. Oh? Who? Someone who might change everything. 3 months later, Imani's father was exonerated, the corruption charges dismissed, evidence of a political conspiracy revealed. Ambassador Marcus Walker returned to public life, and one of the first things he did was fly to Seoul, to thank the people who'd helped his daughter when she had nothing. To meet the Mafia boss who'd stepped in front of wine meant for her, to watch his daughter, no longer invisible, no longer hiding, reclaim her place in the world. The meeting was held at the Baek estate. Amani made the introductions. Father, this is Baek Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo, my father. Ambassador Marcus Walker. The two men shook hands, sized each other up. Mr. Baek, Marcus said, I understand you protected my daughter when she needed it. Your daughter protected herself. Ambassador, I just made sure people were watching when she did. Still, you have my gratitude. I don't need gratitude. I need brilliant people working for me, and your daughter is the most brilliant person I've met in a decade. Marcus looked at Amani. You're working for him? As of last week, international relations consultant. Completely legitimate. I vetted everything. Of course you did. Marcus smiled. Your mother would be so proud. That night, there was a dinner. Small, intimate. The Walkers, the Baeks, a few close associates. And as Amani sat there wearing another one of her mother's dresses, surrounded by people who saw her, really saw her, she realized something. She'd gone to that gala expecting to survive humiliation. Instead, she'd reclaimed herself. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't destruction. It's becoming so undeniably yourself that the people who tried to erase you have to watch you shine. Min-hee never recovered socially. The photos from that night, her being carried out screaming, covered in wine, became a cautionary tale. She tried to rebuild her reputation, but no one forgot. And Imani? She became exactly who she was always meant to be. Not invisible, not a shadow, a queen. Thank you for being here, for witnessing this transformation. Subscribe if you believe in the power of reclaiming yourself. Like this if you've ever been underestimated. Share this with someone who needs to remember their own strength. Because sometimes the best revenge is refusing to stay invisible. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk into a room and remind everyone who you really are.